Hi, folks, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason Pritchard, and you are here for another edition of Cold Rain's Weather Outlook, where we talk about the current weather and the upcoming weather over the next 5 to 7 days. This is a little bit of a shorter form segment than our Cold Rain's Weather World, where we do a deep dive into some of the mechanisms that drive the weather and talk about longer leads, the 1 to 2 week, maybe even longer time frames. We have some other fun segments in there that make that program a little bit longer, but interesting as well and fun. So thank you for being here. Today is the 25th of February, one day before Cold Rain's birthday. So we're going to have a special fun time today on our pre-birthday edition of this show. We're going to dive into all of the weather that's going on. It's going to be kind of a quiet week, so a little bit of a hint of what we're going to show you. But anyway, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so and leave a like if you like the content. Share with friends and family and drop a comment in the comment section. It can be a question about the show, question from me, question about the weather, or a prayer request. We want to pray for you if there's something going on so we can walk alongside of you and encourage you. We certainly want to do that. So welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. All right, so we'll start with our satellite picture, and as you can see right away, we've got our alien still hacking the satellite signal. Hopefully there's no countdown going on, so we'll have to pay attention to that as the day goes on. But we can see several areas of interest here otherwise. We've got this big storm system that is starting to wrap up out here off the coast of Florida. You can see the comma head here. This was affecting Florida with all that rain yesterday. We've still got a little rain up in northeast Florida, southwest coast of Georgia, but then as you look southeast coast of Georgia rather, no coast over here, and then so you've got this comma head, and this convection and cloud cover extends all the way back into Mexico. So this is wrapping up and pulling out. The fish are going to get a nice storm out of this. The Pacific Northwest over here, where we've got this third in the series of storms that have been affecting you guys through the atmospheric river event. This is all winding down today, pulling into northwest Canada, and rain from this onshore flow is still ongoing. So you've got some moderate to light precipitation, light rain actually up here in the Pacific Northwest. Strong winds, you guys in Seattle, Tacoma, Toledo, in Portland, I think are under high wind warnings for gusts to 50 to 60. So you're seeing that. And then we've got some fog down here in Texas. So from Corpus Christi up to Houston, College Station, Shreveport, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Jackson, the fog is starting to burn off now as the temperatures come up, but use caution as you're driving around, maintain a good safe following distance, and really just watch out as that fog is still pretty dense out there in spots. High clouds moving across the center of the country, and up here in the northeast, a little system that's bringing some moderate to occasionally heavy rain showers, some spotty mixed precipitation, but most of the snow is occurring above the Canadian border. Temperatures are just too mild, and they're going to get even milder as we go through the week. Now, looking at the radar image, you can see the radar picture down here, over here in Seattle, Portland. You guys are starting to really feel the effects of this system, pushing on and maturing. So you've got light rain, moderate rain down here as we get into the Washington-Oregon border. A little heavier rain up in the just north of Washington State. And so all of this is going to wind down, and as we move into tonight into tomorrow, you're going to have a nice little break from all of that activity. Some snow up in the Bitterroots into Montana. You've got some light showers. This is mostly rain in North Dakota, and then our bigger batch of rain in the Northeast is moving on off to the east. You've got some heavier showers in here, but most of this is just light to moderate rain. Not expecting a lot out of that. And then this area of low pressure off the coast of Florida is shooting back a little band of showers into North Florida. So that's moving out of here too. So it's going to be a nice, we're going to end up with a nice, really tranquil period as we go through the upcoming work week. Now, our temperature map few days ago, this was all blue and purple and below zero all over the place, wind chills down into the 50s. That's a totally different story today, though. Look over here. You've got a little bit of chilly weather up here in the Cascades, Sierra Nevadas, Rockies, where the higher peaks are, temperatures in the 30s, but 40s and 50s just dominating, 60s as appearing down here as we work through the day. In the morning hours, you're going to start to shoot up into the 60s and 70s down here in the deep south, in the southwest. And Northeast is not even all that cool either. So temperatures in the 30s as you get on up in here. But this is going to reflect a milder period as we go on through the week. Now, I wanted to show you this. Our Storm Prediction Center measure, obviously they put out all of the convective outlooks and everything along the lines thunderstorm related. And they also capture storm reports. And you can see the map was pretty quiet. Down here in Florida, where we expected to see some severe weather, we didn't really see anything. But look at this little report of a tornado in Covington, South Dakota, of all places. A spotter saw a brief spin up there, and I don't think there was any damage reported, but it was certainly out of the ordinary. Particularly with the weather yesterday, to expect a tornado here, but we saw one, and then a little wind damage and hail report up here in Seattle and Oregon. So not a lot on that map, but in any event, we saw that, and I just wanted to point that out because I thought it was interesting. Now, looking down here, you can see, let's go up here to a different display, and we can see this a little bit better. Here's our hazards map we always take a look at. So most of the hazards in effect are up here in the northwestern quadrant of the country. Dense fog advisories here, even some river flood warnings from all that rain that we had last week. But give you some red flag warnings up in Nebraska, so don't be burning anything there. It's high winds and dry weather, and can cause wildfires, can start up and quickly spread, so be careful there. But really, not until you get over into the Bitterroots and into some of the high mountain peaks do you start to see these winter advisories. 1 to 2 feet could continue to fall up here in the northern Cascades, and then these high wind warnings. So looking at Seattle, if we scroll down here, we can see this a little bit better. So Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia, Toledo, you guys are all under a high wind warning for gust 50 to 60. I've seen some gusts up into the 40s to near 50 already. So I expect scattered power outages here, down trees possible, where you've got weakened trees. Obviously, the soils are saturated, so expect some power outages along the coast, you gusting to 60, maybe 65 miles per hour in this area here, from Forks down to Hoquiam. I don't know how to say that. I've never said that word before. Hoquiam. That's what it looks like. So if folks up in the Northwest, I'm saying that wrong, let me know. All right, so that's your sort of Northwest update. Looking at the radar, picture for the Northwest, you can see really see that rain kind of persisting here. This is going to persist through the day. You've got these feeder bands coming in as that low winds up counterclockwise. Circulation around that is going to bring moisture off the Pacific, and you'll still see these strong areas of showers where the banding sets up. But that'll all end over the course of the next 12 to 24 hours, pull out, and have a return to nicer weather up in this part of the country. Taking a look at wind gusts here, so we're seeing gusts into the 40s. Where you see these yellows into the oranges, that's gusts into the 40s toward 50. So as you hover the mouse over this map, it pops up the actual wind gusts where you're pointing at. But look here at Seattle 47, Lakewood 47, and so you're seeing some gusts already into the 40s, maybe even 50. So you could have some gusts approaching 60 through the afternoon. So hold on to your hats out there, bundle up, watch out for flying debris, and kind of stay inside if you can. It's kind of a nasty, raw, windy day. Hopefully the power doesn't go out, but we will more than likely see some power outages. But as I said, this is all wrapping up, and it's going to move off. If we put this into motion, you can actually see what the model does with it. So it takes it as we get into later this afternoon, evening. You can see all of those winds start to diminish through the night. So going to be windy this morning and early afternoon. That'll diminish as the day goes on. Now, as we take a look at the weather for the upcoming week, we start with our jet stream pattern, and I've got the northern hemispheric view. The jet stream circulates the entire hemisphere, and it brings weather systems through the area. The boundary between the north and south of the jet stream, you have warm and cold, and as we get on into the spring, where you start to get these boundaries in the United States, between warm and cold is where you'll find your active weather, and you tend to sometimes we'll get severe weather events and things. So we'll watch out for that. You see the jet sort of goes all the way around the hemisphere, as I said, and sometimes it's stronger and sometimes it's weaker. Well, out here coming off Asia into the Pacific, it's pretty strong. You see these darker brown colors. That's pretty strong jet. As we put this on into motion and look as we go into Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday to Thursday, you can see that jet start to kind of splinter off a little bit as it approaches the United States. But in any event, it'll continue to move along, and you'll see these troughs and ridges, and where you start to see big dips and U or even V-shape, strong V-shaped formations, where you start going to see spin ups of storms and cyclones and things like that. But this is useful too to kind of understand the temperature pattern. Big ridges and big troughs are warm and cold. And as you can see, as we get on into Friday and Saturday, nice ridge out west, a little trough in the east. So we'll have a quick shot of cold weather, but really this is pointed right at the United States and sort of splits apart. So you get this northern branch and this southern branch. So you can kind of see that really well on the global view, which is why I like to show it. And then we move on over in towards Saturday, Sunday. And as we get on into Monday, look what's happening. This jet's all the way around into the coast of the United States. This is just flooding the country with milder air. You're going to be a little chillier out here and then maybe into the Northeast, but most of the country is going to be mild. If we look at this kind of more close up over the course of the next week in just specifically looking at the United States, you can kind of see that play out. So you've got a zonal flow. Zonal is just west to east. You hear that term a lot, zonal flow. That's just west to east, not meridional would be north to south. And so we're looking at a zonal flow, which is a fast flow. You're not going to see a lot of active weather with a zonal flow, maybe some quick hitting systems that will drop a little bit of rain or snow, but nothing very interesting is going to happen in a zonal flow weather-wise. You get a little dip here, but this is a positively tilted trough. It's not able to draw in a lot of moisture with it, so not going to have activity even with this little kink in the jet. And we get on out here into Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday into the weekend. Little trough in the east, so it may cool off in portions of the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley up into the Northeast, northern Mid-Atlantic, maybe even down to North Carolina where I live. We'll get a little bit of a cool shot as we get on into Sunday and Monday. But this big ridge out here in the west, a little bit of a storm system signal here, but again, positively tilted. That means it's running northeast to southwest, and it's not really able to draw in a lot of moisture to work with or create dynamics that would give you a big cyclone. So really not a lot of excitement in the jet, just mostly fast flow. Looking at our European model surface map, you can see the storm system up in the northwest, this storm system down here in Florida. Up in the northeast, you've got, it's not really showing all that much, but you've got a little activity up there. If we put this into motion here over the next 24 hours. So we're looking at tomorrow morning, essentially. High pressure is really settling into the western part of the country. So nothing going to happen here. Little system that's working through the lakes. I wouldn't expect a lot of precipitation out of that. It goes on to drop a little bit of light snow up here in the Northeast. But high pressure really just anchored out west, keeping the storm track well up. You've got a southern branch that's down here that's not really affecting us all that much, and you've got the polar jet way up here, and then here comes a clipper now dropping out of Canada. This may bring some snow into the Great Lakes in the Northeast, and I think we'll look at the snow map in a minute. It'll kind of show that, but not a really strong clipper, and it's going to get out of here pretty quick. So as most clippers do, high pressure working in behind it, so a little cooler into the northern plains, heartland, Great Lakes, the Northeast. And then that moves on out. And then as we get toward the end of the period, so, we're looking at Sunday, Monday, you've got this low pressure starting to take shape around the Four Corners region and the Front Range of the Rockies. The European goes on to take this off to the east and really make something out of it and give us a little bit of snow along the northern edge of that and brings a line of showers and stronger storms. So we'll have to watch that. As I said, we get into March, we start to get these air mass clashes, and that's when you start to see March and April, May, you start to see bigger outbreaks of severe weather. So that's something that we're going to watch. There's a possibility of that. The GFS is sort of similar. It takes it a little bit farther to the south, but we'll watch how this evolves. Both models have a signal for a storm. An active pattern looks like it may start to return as we get beyond the 7-day period. So we'll watch that for sure. And then looking at our convective outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, we don't really see much here. Just day one, we're looking at some general storms with that little system that moves across. I doubt we'll see much in the way of lightning, but it is possible. And here's our WPC, which is the Weather Prediction Center precipitation outlook map. Most of the rain and snow is going to fall up in the northwest. Not a lot of activity across the rest of the country over the next 5 days. So you can kind of see where the Weather Prediction Center expects most of the rain to fall. And it's not until you get up to the northeast, and a lot of that's occurring now, where you get a half an inch, maybe an inch of precipitation up here. And so Really quiet week ahead. Looking at the European ensemble total precipitation, it's got rain over the entire country, what you would expect to see rain, but you're not going to get rain everywhere. This is just what I would pay attention to is kind of the signals for the strongest precipitation footprint, and that's up here in the Northeast, the Pacific Northwest, and that's drying out. And then as we get into the end of the period, that system that I was telling you about starts to take shape here, and so you get a rain response in toward Texas and Oklahoma and the Panhandle in that area there. GFS is pretty similar. If we run this out to 144 hours, 6 days out, same sort of signal. Northeast, northwest, and then down here in the center, south central part of the country. So not a lot of wet weather. Maybe see some high clouds, a couple of showers at times over the course of the week, but really nothing to speak of here. Looking at our snowfall probabilities, advancing this on out to the end of the period. Look at this. Mountains out in the northwest, Rocky Mountains, Bitterroots, Canada, and then into the Northeast, really nothing doing in terms of snowfall, appreciable snowfall for most of the country. This is the 80% plus probability of 1 inch of snow. And we're not really seeing any sort of, outside of the mountain areas, we're not seeing a lot in the way of winter activity. And I wouldn't expect to. It's going to be very, very mild over the course of the next 5 to 7 days. And then the European ensemble, that was the probability map. So the ensemble total snowfall map follows that same footprint. Now up here into the Northeast, it's got a little bit more in the way of snow, maybe 4 to 6 inches of snow across upstate New York on into Maine and New England. But outside of the Rocky Mountain West and the Cascades and the Sierra Nevadas, you're not really looking at a lot of snowfall. Why is that? Well, there you go. No better explanation than this. This is your 5-day temperature anomaly. So we're starting here at 0. We work this on out this is just essentially a 5-day average. And so we're going to bring this on forward. Actually, you know what? I want this is not that. This is just a 2-meter temperature anomaly. Sorry, I'm a map ahead. So looking here at 0, let's get up to current. So here we are at our current time frame. So this is essentially the overnight last night, but we're looking at hour 6. So this would be this morning. This is the last night's run. And so look, here's what we got, hour 6. So working on in here, you see warmer than normal temperatures across the north, a little bit cooler across the south. This is not cold. This is just cooler than it should be. And look at that. As we get on into Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, just reds and reds and reds as far as the eye can see until we get in here toward the weekend. And I told you we saw this on the jet stream, that little dip, a little bit of cool air working into the eastern portion of the country, northeast. But then we get return flow behind that as it moves on off, and then another little punch of cold air as we get on into Monday, Sunday, and Monday. So looks like a little bit of a shot. There's not a lot of staying power here. Again, we've got a fast zonal flow, so whatever cool down we have, it'll be kind of in and out. But most of the country is just dominated by warmer than average temperature. Some of these brighter pinks that you see here, I mean, these are on our scale here. These are 12, 15 degrees above normal. So very, very mild temperature pattern. This is our 5-day anomaly map. So an average of all 5 days, you can see only up here into the far northeast is where we see average or below outside of the higher mountain peaks. The GFS bears that out. So we have high confidence that the next 5 days is going to be mostly a tranquil pattern, mostly a warm pattern, which I know a lot of you are looking for winter to be over, and so it'll be time to get that to get outside, put the pre-emergent down. You've probably already done that, and start to watch the new grass and all of the. If it's in my yard, we're watching little weeds come up. I need to do better taking care of my grass, but growth is happening. Trees are blossoming. Winter is going to sleep, spring is waking up, so spring fever is here. Enjoy the week and have a great day today and for the rest of the week, and we'll see you back again. Probably have a Cold Rains Weather World episode tomorrow, so you'll not want to miss that. I think we've got a brand new sponsor for that show. So take care, have a great day, everybody. We'll see you. Bye.